Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bird's Eye View podcast, season 2, now episode 3. Chilly night here in Windsor, but we're cooped up inside as we should be, COVID and all. I am joined by Miansfo and King Buck. How you guys doing tonight?
Very good, very cold.
I'm doing good, thank you.
Well, got a lot to break down. Another fantastic week for your Saints gaming teams, and we'll start right away with the Call of Duty team. They ended up going 1-1 on the weekend. They take down University of Oklahoma pretty handily on Friday night. They followed that up with a 2-0 loss, unfortunately, to Ottawa University, which many are saying is probably the best team in collegiate Call of Duty right now. Not the fight they wanted to put up in map number 1. They kind of got beat down pretty good, but decent performance in S&D. I think it was 6-3 loss. Just kind of outclassed in this situation, a little bit outmatched. And, when you get down early in games, it's very easy to get kind of desperate and make mistakes and just forgetting how to play individually, as a team. And, for me watching that, that's kind of my takeaway. But, that you got to give credit to Ottawa. They're just unbelievable right now. And they continue just to pretty much crush everybody. Moving into Rocket League, another great week for Rocket League, going 4-0 with a 12-2 map count. And we talked a little bit about the Dickinson State match on last week's episode. Dickinson State kind of gave them a little bit of a scare. They won map 1 and map 3.
Yep.
And really just kind of toyed with St. Clair pretty much every map, and it was super close. I know the map 5, I believe, was kind of a lopsided match.
That was a 3-0.
Right, yeah.
And then,
so
game 4 went to overtime, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. And so St. Clair actually found themselves down 2-1.
So they brought it back and won the series.
Yeah, so impressive stuff from Rocket League. Also, taking down Lincoln Christian University. I watched a little bit of this match, and it was the most lopsided victory I think I've ever seen watching Rocket League. I haven't watched a whole lot, mind you, but it was a complete massacre, to put it blatantly. Lincoln Christian just not there yet as far as being a contending team in NACE. But St. Clair with the victory 3-0. They then moved on to play Temple University and play versus. That'll be a 3-0 as well. Again, not very close from what I heard. No. And I didn't hear much about the Eastern Kentucky matchup, also play versus, but that was again a 3-0 for the Rocket League team.
Yeah, very good showing from them. I think this week we did have a very good week in total for Saints Gaming. For example, again, Fortnite. They did come off their best week yet, or their best matches yet, of their previous season. They ended up finishing 9th in total of the 125 teams, which is very huge. That also keeps them number 1 Canadian team as well, I think. Or they should be. If they finished 9th, they should definitely be keeping the number 1 Canadian team over the weeks. So that streak continues for them. More on Saints Gaming. Another win came from their League of Legends team over their Windsor neighbors, or I don't know if it's neighbor, if it's the same town, but same town rivals. They won 2-1 over Windsor there. They did go take down. They lost game 1, then won game 2 and 3 in a stomping fashion. Just kind of make sure they know that we're better than them.
So I wanted to ask about that map 1. Just were you guys kind of like surprised? Like what happened really?
So like for our team, our map 1 or the game 1 generally isn't the best for us. It's like our testing thing. We did fight really early that we weren't really like, our comp wasn't built around fighting early, and theirs was a bit more. And we stuck one bad fight, and they just snowballed from there. They actually played Nunu, and he has ability that's with a snowball, so they legit snowballed from there and beat us. Wow. And then game 2 and 3, we just learned, kind of adapted for what their original style was, and then we just kind of countered it and went from there and took the W.
So how did your bands kind of change from map 1 to map 2? Like,
Bands didn't
was there a
change at
big
all, I don't think.
really?
Then we kept the same bands. It's just our play style changed.
Wow. That's interesting. I would honestly like I wouldn't have been surprised if you said, "Yo, we like banned a whole bunch of stuff
No,
to really counter what they did." But
game 2, we gave them the new again. Which they probably thought, oh, they're trolling, but we thought, no, we got this. And we ended up beating them pretty easily.
yeah,
We changed it where we played around the map, and it really affected them and it got us the lead. But I
well,
think
that's
that one also had, like, I don't know for certain, but it had like 200 viewers at one point, I believe. So like that rivalry is kind of huge. There was a bit of banter in the Twitch chat as well. I know it did get kind of crazy there. But
yeah.
that's a lot of views just for Saints Gaming in general. I don't know how many of the rest of the streams get, but for a rivalry in Windsor, it's good for us also.
Yeah, I believe it was the most viewed match on the Saints Gaming channel so far this year. But I just want to address something really quick about the Twitch chat. For those of you that don't know, we have a fan. His name is Sammy. He goes by Toronto Fan 34, I believe.
Yep.
He has Down syndrome, and he's been so kind to us and coming into every match, doesn't matter what game, supporting us. And it just it just bothers me so much because there was a case during the League of Legends match against the University of Windsor where University of Windsor fans were um, they were bullying Sammy, and it was I didn't see it get to that point, but in the team leaders chat and the executive chat in the Saints Gaming Cord, it's heartbreaking, and
Yeah.
there's absolutely no excuse for the University of Windsor and their fans. Their players and coach did apologize and are embarrassed, and they absolutely should be. Not whether they knew of Sammy's mental disability or not. Just bullying is not accepted or welcomed in our chats, nor should it be in any chat. And it was actually quite just disgraceful hearing about it and reading about it. And I just hope that University of Windsor fans and their students learn from the mistake that they made, because quite frankly, it's just embarrassing. And to be honest, it pisses me off. It pisses me off to no end hearing about that. So I don't know what you guys have to say about it, but basically, I just wanted to get a little rant in there.
Well, I'm sure we'll be going more into detail about that later.
Yeah, we can definitely. I don't know. It sucks seeing it. I was playing the game, so I didn't get to see it, but like I know our coach was talking about it, and like he said, win it for Sammy. So we did win it. So hopefully Sammy's happy, but I didn't.
Yeah,
it does suck that happened, and somebody or another school nearby, or even just any school does that. They shouldn't be doing that at all. Actually, it's kind of a terrible thing to do. But we'll definitely talk about that later.
For sure, and that'll tie into our toxicity talk, like you guys said after the interview. But just had to get that out there. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I just hope that the University of Windsor students and fans learn from their mistakes, and it better not happen again, because there's no excuse for something like that. But enough of the seriousness. We'll move on. We'll go to Luke for some Rainbow Six.
So our Rainbow Six team, they played 2 games this week. They had a close loss against Texas A&M University, losing 2-1 in the playoff CR6 playoffs round of 16. Then we had a 2-0 win over Washington State University in the R6 Collegiate Championships.
So I would assume that CR6 is double elimination. So they're 2-1 loss.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they would have single elimination for playoffs, especially in R6.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure actually.
Yeah.
No,
but round of 16 is pretty deep into it, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, nevertheless, if there is a loser's bracket, hoping there is, they're going to have quite the run going forward.
Yeah.
But we'll go back to Zach with some CSGO action.
CSGO, they won at Davenport University. I think Davenport's right across the border, actually, in Michigan. So kind of like a near neighbor in a way.
It's somewhere in Michigan, I believe.
They did lose 16-8. So that's still not that close of a game, but still took a little fighting chance to it. The next game they played against Iowa State. They won 16-12. So still a bit closer as well. Just 4 rounds off. But it was a good game to watch. They did all play pretty well. Again, top frags were top fragging, and the rest of them were just kind of, they were in the moments they were being there, like doing the right thing at the right time for the rest of the team to take the win.
Yeah, it's I think it's kind of weird to see this CSGO team lose by kind of a big margin, like 16-8. It doesn't happen often, for sure.
Yeah, well, we're just not sure how good Davenport is. We only just see that one match. They could be one of the top teams. I'm not too sure. I have to look into it more. But it could just be another top team, or it just depends on, you don't show up every day. Some days you just won't show up. You can't win every game, but so it is possible we just didn't show up that day. But Davenport could just be a good team also.
That's true, and if they are, obviously got to give credit where it's due.
Yep.
So CSGO 1-1 on the week. We'll go back to Luke for some Overwatch.
So Overwatch, technically they won 2 games.
Oh yeah, they did. That's not technically, they did.
Well, one's a forfeit win against Iowa College.
Alma College. Where is it? Where even is that?
Alma College.
clue.
Let me check.
Okay.
And then they had a legitimate 2-0 win over, I believe that's
It's in Michigan.
Augustana State University.
Yep, Augustana, yeah.
So Overwatch, 5-0, default 3-0 on the one match. NACE is best of 5s, whereas UCEA is best of 3s. So 2-0 win against Augustana, 3-0 forfeit win against Alma College, our neighbors over in Michigan. I think that's the proper use of neighbors.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And finally, we'll go back to, actually, we'll stick with Luke. Take us through Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, they won 3-0 against University of Pikeville for TESPA varsity.
Pikeville's in Kentucky. I just checked it out. I was wondering myself, but it's in Kentucky.
And then they beat my old college, Fanshawe, 3-2.
That's went to Silver Scrapes. I don't know who will get that joke, but Silver Scrapes.
Yeah. I did not get that.
I get it, but it still went over my head. So
It goes like the last game. So like game 5 of the best of 5 is Silver Scrapes. There's a song, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
yeah, it's a league song, but I didn't get the reference.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yes. See, I'm the guy who said it was a Willy Wonka hat last week. So
Yes.
don't expect me to get those references.
Don't worry.
But anyways, there's the Willy Wonka back. Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for the recap of the past week. Another successful week for the Saints gaming varsity teams. Now, before we get into the MVPs, I just want to mention our guest that we're going to be having very, very shortly, Dawson. Some people know him as Lavelle. Some people know him as Dawson. I call him an idiot. But that's just me personally. No, I'm kidding. But it's going to be a good interview. I'm excited. I'm going to interview him right after we record, and we'll just throw it right in. Very interesting guy. A lot of talk for sure. So I'm curious as to find out what his grind was like getting to become the coach of the varsity team and captain as well. So that'll be interesting. That's coming up very, very shortly. But we'll go to Luke right now with your MVP of the week.
So I had trouble picking MVP for this week. I'm torn between the entire Rocket League team as MVP or the Fortnite team for MVP. So,
Ooh.
but I'm think that 12-2 record is gonna take it. So I gotta go with the whole, like the entire Rocket League team.
But yeah, they did have a pretty good
like
week. I think I'm
Yeah,
gonna go with
like-
the Fortnite team then. I was balancing them both, trying to decide one between the two. But Fortnite probably it was their best week for sure for their for Play VS series they're doing. So they're trying to make the grind to the top. I'm not sure their overall rank, but for that week they get 9th. If they were 22nd, I believe, last week, so they probably went up a couple spots. So I'm hoping that they all do make the top 10 one week and then keep going from there. And it seems like they're on the right trajectory towards that.
Yeah, that they definitely had a good week, their best week yet, so that's exciting to see. Well, time for my MVP. Can you guys guess which game and which player I'm going to give it to? I'm actually, I think I mentioned
on
it
the
before we
CS:GO?
started recording, but yeah, I don't
CS:GO team.
You can give it to Rainbow Six's Big Papa.
like. I could. Gotta show some love to Big Papa, but my MVP for the week is going to be actually Dawson. He's a guy who doesn't drop large numbers. He's more of a role player in game, but 33 kills, I believe, in the first map against Oklahoma State. Not Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and I think he had 14 in the search and destroy, which is like a large number. So, got to give it to Dawson. He had a really good Friday night. Yeah, so we got Fortnite team as one MVPs, Rocket League MVPs, and of course Dawson as the MVP, like always. Well, I think that's gonna do it for now. We're gonna throw it to the interview
With Dawson.
With Dawson, yeah, we got Dawson Lavelle coming up right now. We are now joined by current Call of Duty Saints Gaming varsity coach and captain, as well as St. Clair Esports Club executive, Dawson, aka Lavelle, in the building, in the flesh. I'm excited for this one. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. In the flesh, bro. Come on, COVID. We ain't in the same building.
Sorry.
Get us out of here.
In the online flesh, let's say. So before we kind of dive into stuff, like first I want to ask, like, just talk about your incident, like today and yesterday, really, with your car.
Oh man, don't even get me started, man. I just 2:30 in the afternoon, bright day, and two deer ran out in front of me, and I had to try and make a decision that couldn't really be made. I mean, I had to hit one of them, and car's kind of messed up now.
I hate to see that, but like, at least you're good. You're not hurt.
I'm not hurt. I'm
so,
good.
You know, take your losses with your car, but you know, you're not broken in any way, so that's good.
Fresh.
Nice and fresh. Good.
Nice and fresh.
Love to see it. Well, first thing I wanted to ask, like, I guess where did it all begin with you? Whether it's gaming or esports, like, what's one game you remember from your childhood that was like, oh yeah, that's what really got me into gaming?
Dang, that's like, that's OG. Okay. One game that got me into gaming, probably playing like GameCube with my cousin. I know we used to play, pretty sure it was on GameCube, man. We played like Eagle Eye and stuff like that, like 007, the old ones, man.
Wow.
The graphics on those games were terrible. But I mean, I swear that I thought they were the greatest thing in the world at the time. I mean, that's like with like FPS games. Like that's what got me into it. Then we started playing like World at War, and then got into COD 4 when it came out, stuff like that. But before that, when I was like a child, man, like Spyro, that was my stuff, man. My little dragon, he's great.
Nice. So you mentioned Call of Duty, and obviously now being kind of the head coach of a varsity college team, you know, where did the passion for esports kind of start with you?
Passion for esports started in around 2014, I want to say. I started going to LAN events as a spectator to start. and just watching the scene grow, watching some of the other COD teams when it was really developing, so to say, at a more up and coming time. And then around 2016, I started to compete a bit myself, more so just like wagers online, small online tournaments, stuff like that. It was really hard to play in like LANs and stuff like that because you weren't 18. I wasn't 18 yet. But once I did, though, that was when I started really getting into it a lot more. I still did like a lot of, like I said, online stuff, online tourneys. But once I turned 18, I did a few LANs. Yeah.
So I remember when the St. Clair Esports Club like got announced. It would have been around this time last year, maybe earlier September. I would say. I remember sitting in that classroom at the Sportsplex here at St. Clair, and Chris just going over like the different stuff that the club's gonna have, the different teams and whatnot. And I just remember this one guy, sitting in the back of the class, the back left.
Yes, sir.
I was on the other side, on the right, and this guy just gets up and he said, "Yeah, so I'm running the Call of Duty team. I'm gonna be hosting tryouts soon." I'm just like, "Ooh, that sounds interesting." And so right away, I was like, I know I can't play because I'm not good enough, but I hit this guy up. I was like, yo, like, I got a mind for the game. I don't got the thumbs. Like, let's work together. Let's build something great. And then, here we are, Mr. Head Coach, Mr. Assistant Coach. So just kind of take me through the tryout process because I wasn't really involved too much right away. So first off, I know White Tiger Nick, good friend of ours, was the first recruit for the club team. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be blunt with you, man. Like a lot of collegiate spaces, I mean, especially starting new teams and stuff like that, especially at a club level, it's usually harder to find players, and like I feel like that discourages a lot of people.
Hmm.
I've gotten a lot of feedback from like coaches, captains, stuff like that, and like asking me how I did it, um, how I went about it, just because obviously I built a team from the ground up. But tryouts, when it came to like the first club tryout, it was the hardest thing, man. I had 3 people show up. 2 people didn't even know they were supposed to bring their gear. So like they weren't even able to try out. I had Nick show up, White Tiger, was the only guy that I had playing with Colin Seymour, who was a caster and was trying out for the Overwatch team.
Hmm.
So it was like I had them 2 playing and myself. And I wasn't even playing. I was trying to watch how the other players played because
Yeah.
I'm out here trying to see how their skill is. So basically, it started off that way where I said, you know what, like this guy obviously has some dedication for the game. I'm gonna take him. He wants to be on the team. He wants to play for me. So it was me, Seymour, and White Tiger at the time. And then I kind of just started cold calling people, like cold calling. Uh, I was just on Discord like every day. Hey, anyone interested in COD? I got a few hits. Um, I was in class one day, and what do you know? One of my best players now, Priestley. I'm like, hey man, like, do you play Call of Duty? Because we talk like every day. I'm like, do you play games? He's like, yeah, I play. I was like, play Call of Duty? Yeah, I played back in like Advanced Warfare, and now I just play pubs. And man, I'm like, yo, come try out for the team. He's like, no, I'm not that good. He's like, I can't play competitive. Bro, we went into this game and this man was dropping like 30s on like all these other teams. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? He can't play the game in comp. He's like, bro. He's like, don't even worry, man. I used to play with like aches and stuff. And I'm like, you weird, man. Like this guy, you're telling me you came in straight from the pro scene and then you left and now you're coming back. Like you never did anything. Okay, my guy. But we ended up Seymour got onto the Overwatch team and I was left with I had 5 at the time, plus Seymour, so 6. Seymour ended up leaving, so it kind of worked out perfectly, and I got that 6th player technically. They came onto the team. I started captaining as well as coaching, and then we all just formed that team together. Just from the people we had. Like it was hard, obviously, but I mean, we learned to work together, build up that team chemistry.
Yeah, so I mean, there wasn't a lot of practice in the fall semester of last year. Obviously, like really didn't even get a team together till early January, and of course the CCL, College COD, for those of you who don't know, the biggest collegiate level right now as far as Call of Duty is concerned. That was starting up, I believe, late January. They had their inaugural tournament.
Yep.
So, and I know Seymour was still on the team at the time. So, what was the transition? The transition like going from that inaugural tournament to the start of the regular season for the CCL?
There's a few big changes. I mean, Seymour was our main AR. He anchored a lot of hills. I was playing a sub still at the time. Black Ops 4, I usually played a sub. Same with Black Ops 3. And so I thought going into it, I was doing well with an MP5. I'll keep doing that. We had some roles that were a little bit iffy that we weren't too sure of. Like you said, we didn't have a lot of practice yet as like a whole team, maybe a few that here and there online. And then after the tournament, when Seymour announced that he was going to play Overwatch, focus on Overwatch and casting, I decided that I was going to take the main AR role. I didn't know how it would work out, but it ended up being a really good decision for our team because I was the guy that was always anchoring back, making sure that we were holding hills, making sure we had spawns. I'm always the guy that's making the call outs and making I'm just a shot caller, and my team listens to me, and that's the good thing.
Yeah, and I always found that me and you had a good chemistry in the way where we agree on a lot of things, but sometimes we butt heads, and it kind of just benefits the team because like you could be like let's do this when we go A and S and D, and I'll be like, well, we could do this instead, and we just kind of keep the ideas flowing, and you know what, I found the players really took to it, and
100%, man.
and we saw how they developed over the course of the season. But I'm starting to notice, especially this year, we'll get into that a little bit later, but like just take us through the first few weeks of the regular season in the CCL. Like it was kind of a up and down start from what I remember. Like how did you kind of mentally prepare everyone for each match?
I mean, I think at the time we were doing like 2-3 practices a week, man, because we're on campus. So usually like we bring our gear in. I had everyone get into the open gaming lounge after class and stuff like that later on in the night, and we would literally just grind like scrims for like 3-4 hours, and that definitely helped. Like we didn't have a lot of chemistry at first, and we had a few people that were a little bit quiet because everyone still was getting to know each other. And no one was really. We had a few people, just soft spoken in general. So finally, like we were able to, me and you, really try and get people to keep talking. We started hanging out more outside of class. All of us talking to each other after matches in those first few weeks. When we took a loss, like so, basically, there's vending machines for anyone that doesn't know, like right outside of our like computer lab. So like our computer lab attached to it has the open gaming lounge. We would play there in the open gaming lounge our match. If we lost or we won, we still would always walk out, and like right before we leave, we'd just stand around at the vending machines and talk. And dude, I swear, man, there was times where we had like 30-minute conversation, like an hour-long conversation about matches and like what we could have changed to do better, or even if we won, like what we could have changed to like make sure they didn't win a certain round, or their hard point score wasn't as high as it should have been, or anything like that, right? Like playing those plays that shouldn't have been played, such as like just making sure you're slowing down, not getting caught on a sprint if you're running around a corner, making sure you don't chow certain things, anything like that, man. Like these conversations were like 45 minutes long, like to an hour sometimes. And I mean, I appreciate it because it was like me, I started with everything that I had to say. I let the players know, hey, I have like your backs and I want to make sure everyone has their say. So I would start and then we just go around in a circle and everyone would say their piece. So then everyone says what they need to say, and that makes our connection better as a team because then everyone knows what's on everyone's chest, and now you just got it off your chest. So now we can work on fixing those things that other people had problems with. That's how I seen it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think those conversations, even it seems so little, but it definitely helped build our chemistry. We got to know each other more, and especially for the players, that's huge, especially when everyone's still a little bit nervous around each other because you don't know the other person yet, right? So those conversations definitely helped. And I wanted to ask because I'm really curious because you're more of a straightforward, timid guy that's like, professional, cool, calm, and collected. You bring that energy when you're coaching and like in game and stuff like that, rather than being a hype beast, just screaming and yelling all the time. Where more like that's more my style. How did you kind of get into that mindset in order to coach this team?
Honestly, it's just how I've been my whole life. Like I've been I played hockey for about 6 years. I coached a team. I helped coach a team, uh, a travel team, and it's like you just got to make sure whenever someone's not doing well, whenever someone is not performing to your standard, or yourself, you're not performing to their standard, or there's a play that happened that needed to be done a different way. Maybe they just misunderstood. Like it's not. I think of it as like no matter what, there's always something that can be changed. Nothing's gonna be perfect. You just gotta roll with what you got and take what you're given, right? So it's like when I had players coming off of a game and they're doing crap, it's nothing, man. Like you shouldn't be. I don't like the complaining and stuff like that. It's just myself. It's okay. Like I don't care if your KD is if you went 5 and 28. If you got 3 minutes on the point, I'm happy. Like worry about stuff like that. KD is not everything in that game, and it never will be, in my opinion. Um, it depends on the role that different people play. 5v5 was a little bit different when it came to like roles, so to say. But still, I've always been a professional guy. I've taken a lot of business. I've ran a lot of like social media accounts, help people with help improving their business and their sales. And it's like, I don't know. I've just been a very cool, calm, and collected guy and professional guy as much as I can. Obviously, there's times where everyone gets to a breaking point, and I mean, I won't lie that sometimes, obviously, yes, I'm just like everyone else, and I'll get pissed off when I lose. But it's for reasons that are understandable, and the thing is, I'll get loud and I'll get upset, but then once it's off my chest, you're not going to hear it again. I won't dwell on anything because the thing is, once it's out there, then most of my players or whoever needed to hear it is probably going to be like, damn, like that's what he said is the truth. Like we need to work on that. And that's how I think of it, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So how was like, so what are some things that when the team first started through, let's say the first half of the CCL season, what are some things that you did and said that come the end of the year after playoffs that you kind of changed as more so on the coaching side of things, as far as methods and ways of communicating with your players? Like did you start with something and then be like, oh, maybe I can switch it up and it'll be more effective, like for what I say, like, you know what I mean? Like, is
Yeah,
there
100%.
anything that you changed in that regard?
In that regard, I mean, it's smaller things really. The communication stuff was just like me always saying, "Hey guys, get the comms up, let's go in the game." Because the thing is, when you get silent, when a team gets silent, you don't want that because obviously something's going wrong and a gear is broken somewhere. Something's breaking down, and you need to fix it immediately. Because the thing is, when you get quiet, you start losing. And I don't know if other teams have noticed that or not, but it's the truth. Like start watching even your VODs back or record yourself. If your team starts to lose it a little bit and say you just got wiped, like a full 5-man wipe on your squad, you shouldn't all just stop talking. You got to be like, hey, yo, listen, let's go, let's go, let's go. Hit this other way, I'll hit this way. Let's hit like a 3-2 or something like that. It's like you got to keep the comms up. Be like, yo, guys, and call out everything you're doing. Call out your movements. Call out where everyone is. Like it doesn't have to be like enemy comms, right? Like you don't always have to be like, yo, he's top sandbags, and then you're quiet. You're like, yo, okay, I'm running through cave right now. I'm gonna go chicken. Okay, I'm gonna loop around. I'm gonna go to spiral. Like quick stuff on the fly. It's just keeping up the comms, because when you're talking, someone else is going to start talking when they see something too. And that's what you need on a team. You need to trust in your teammates, be confident, um, make those good comms. Other than that, coaching wise, it was just strats too. CCL was hard because it was like our first year. I had a lot of like set strats that I wanted to run, especially in like search and destroy. And you realize quickly, especially when we started getting streamed, and I should have realized it from the start, that we were going to get counter stratted. And it started happening where I think like 5 games deep, or 6 games deep, near the middle of the season, and a team literally almost wiped us 6-0 in a search that we were like we were flawless on. I think we were like 3-0 on that search map, and I'm like, okay, these guys know exactly where we're running every single round. And the thing is, we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk it through about like what else we could do in those situations. And that's where I was like, okay, yeah, we got to go through this stuff again and realize like, okay, if I just call like a 2-1-2 or like a 3-2 or a 4-1, like stuff like that, like we shouldn't have like set positions, because then people are gonna start running and gunning and counter stratting us, just like it kind of happened almost in Tespa, but just now actually this year. But we switch it up really quick. Like we had one strat that we were running already on a search. They counter stratted us on one round, and we switched it, we flipped it, and we won 6 rounds straight. Easy as that, man. We're trying to keep those VODs out of people's hands, even though when they get into people's hands, it won't do them any good, because we're improving, man. And we know that when people start watching our VODs, we're doing great, and those counter strats aren't going to help them.
Absolutely. And now, after what was probably kind of a disappointing run in the CCL playoffs, obviously getting double first rounded, tough matchup, obviously, being the 31 seed, 32 seed heading into playoffs, getting put up against the #1 ranked team in all of North America. Tough go. Competed well in the first map, but just with a team like that and against a team of first years, it was definitely noticeable that the team wasn't quite there yet. And then obviously losing to, was it Bowling Green State in the losers bracket. Probably a winnable match, but nonetheless, somewhat of a disappointing run. But top 32 nonetheless in year one out of 72 teams, very impressive. And then I believe that was early February, and then COVID hits in March, and you're kind of anticipating throughout the year to be varsity next season, to be on campus, being able to play matches in the nest, and then COVID hits. Like, how did your plans change as far as the team goes, and tryouts go, even heading into this year?
Man, it's definitely been hard. When COVID hit, the thing was right before it started, we were supposed to start playing the TESPA matches. So we were going to the school all the time. We were playing in the school, playing together, and then all of a sudden they postponed TESPA. And I think they postponed. It took like, we didn't start for like another like 3 months after like the scheduled start time.
Yeah.
3 or 4 months, and it was ridiculous. And before that, like when all the schools got shut down too, I knew we didn't have space anymore, like to play in. So we just had to play online. No one really knew what was going on. Everyone was kind of just in lockdown at the time. So with that shift, I just had to make sure like I had a Discord server that I kept communications with people with. We had a Twitter chat, because a lot of people, especially Call of Duty players, they don't use Discord. They don't use Discord.
Yeah.
They don't touch that. Yeah. No. But yeah, no, Twitter DMs for us, man. That's all it is. So I got the Twitter going, and no, I think the transition was a little bit hard at first, but then once we got it rolling, it was a bit better. It was just making sure people stayed on top of it sometimes. Like I remember, like even TESPA matches, we had TESPA matches Mondays and and they would roll out like Call of Duty would roll out an update, and it's like, dude, come on, man. Like everyone's like, hey guys, don't forget to update your games. Or like we got a scrim on a Thursday and someone comes in for the scrim, they're like, dude, I didn't play at all yesterday and I have like a 20 gigabyte update, and I'm like, man, now our scrim's chalked. Like we but stuff like that, man, it's like it's not controllable. But this year and even last year, like it only progressed and got better. We went into the TESPA season last year, tried to start off strong and early. We did, but got reverse swept. But nothing you can do about it, man.
Yeah, and obviously heading into this year, kind of, it was anticipated to be a long off season, especially for Call of Duty, and I know we wanted to get tryouts rolling, probably in November when the new game was released, but TESPA coming out and announcing that they're having kind of a farewell Modern Warfare tournament just kind of threw a hitch in all those plans, because obviously the announcement of 4v4, I'll ask you about that in a minute, but so all the plan was for Cold War. Modern Warfare was over. Everybody was kind of on break as far as the Call of Duty team is concerned. But all of a sudden, this gets announced, and you're scrambling trying to find guys because two of the players left, and so you were left with a team of 3. And then we did tryouts, I believe. I don't know, second week of September, third week of September.
Yeah.
And
I started open tryouts though in like I won't even lie, in like May, I think.
It was kind of off and on. You're right, throughout the summer. So there was at least that. But again, like with this sudden announcement, you're a team of 3. What was kind of your mindset trying to get those final 2 players?
Oh man, I mean, like I said, the open tryouts I've been holding them like all summer. I was just sporadically, and then come September when it got announced, or a little bit before September, I think end of August even, when TESPA announced that they were gonna do that, like basically farewell 10K for Modern Warfare, I decided that it was time to put in those mandatory tryouts. So what I did was I held like 8s or 10s. We all got into a lobby, and basically me and a few other of our, me and 2 of the players that were already planning on being on the team would spectate and watch everyone else play. I wouldn't let them play because I knew I let them play once and it wasn't the best look. But no, we scouted out some good players. It's a lot harder in Canada when you're trying to scout amateur players or even like ex-pro players, because a lot of people, I know everyone wants like to get an education and stuff like that, but the thing is we're not in the U.S. and a lot of those people are located in the U.S. and they would have to relocate to come to school here. But COVID actually, obviously we didn't know if we'd be going back or not, especially in Canada. Um, Cases were not terrible, so to say, at least at one point, not as bad as they were in the U.S. So I mean, I was hoping that we'd go back into school or at least be able to like get in there with masks on, which we are for certain courses. But nah, it's just crappy situation, you know. But if I would have known if everything was going to be online, maybe I could have done a little bit more recruit. But I still think we came out with some incredible picks, at least for Modern Warfare. And we're going to be doing some more tryouts for Cold War 2 once the game releases. I plan on doing like tryouts in around mid-November.
Right. So, talking about Priestley and Sauce specifically, obviously those are the 2 players that were on the team last year as well. They rose up to varsity with you. How have you seen those guys improve? Because I remember they were super quiet guys, insanely good at the game, but how did you kind of see them start to open up as far as just banter with the team or even in their gameplay specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I watched them both flourish and do really well as individual players. They've became more of a dynamic duo on my team than anything. These guys play with such passion, and that it's incredible when I watch them play and when I'm playing with them. So the thing is with these guys, they started off really quiet, and I had a hard time trying to get them to talk because especially Priestley, he had I need to get him to talk. he was a very quiet guy in and out of class. Like even just being friends with the guy, he's just quiet in general. Sauce, he's done YouTube commentary before. He made videos. He streams a bit, and he was easier to crack his shell. But once I got those two talking, those were the guys that were my communication issue kind of lied, and I'll be honest with that, because those guys didn't talk a lot. But once they did, when those guys started talking to each other, especially, they started becoming my top slayers. They were trading for each other and getting the kills that need to get basically made to make a play. Priestley is my top player right now, and Sauce is definitely the close second. Uh, these guys together are a threat, and that's what I'm happy about going into Cold War with. I know those two are going to perform very well together, and to have me as well on top of that to back them up and give them that support. And I just need one more guy now, and that'll be the roster that really changes this year. We're going for top 16.
Well said. And before we kind of get into Cold War, like standing at 4-2 right now. Obviously, this is recorded Monday, November 2nd. Uploaded Wednesday the 4th. TESPA playoffs start this weekend. Sitting at 4-2, I believe eighth place. I want to say 7th place, something like that. How's this TESPA season gone? Obviously, it's only been 3 weeks long, but you've played some really good teams. Penn State Black and Ottawa, of course, two very, very good teams. How far, without kind of, I don't know, I don't want to sound rude, but like how far off do you think this varsity team is or can be compared to the likes of Ottawa, Penn State, Concord, Texas A&M, heading into Cold War? Like, how do you compare to them right now, and do you see this team getting to that level of talent?
Yeah, I mean, especially playing like Modern Warfare. I mean, we're playing Ottawa. They got some incredible top amateur players on there. They got Noisy, and they got Fame, a 2 times Challengers champ, which is going to be that's the hardest thing playing against those guys, especially in Modern Warfare, right? They know that game inside and out. My roster is still a little bit new when I have 2 more guys added onto it. It's not 4v4 anymore. It's 5v5, at least right now, just for us playing Modern Warfare until we go into Cold War. But having to add 2 new additions to the team rather than just one, like I will have to do with Cold War, getting those 2 people to learn so quickly, like right off the rip, because I just recruited them about a month and a half ago, is crazy. So these guys, though, that they have already started playing together a while ago, I assume they had them in their eyes already. But I don't think, especially going into Cold War, I don't think we're that far off, I'm being honest. We got some good chemistry already between me, Priestley, and Sauce. I just need a 4th that can really keep up, play at the same pace as we all do, and make sure that we're getting those kills. And when we do, and when we're playing as a team as a whole, we're not stopped. That's the thing, because those 4 matches we have won are the matches where we were playing off the backs of each other and we weren't making individual plays. Like that's where we start lacking, is when we start breaking down as a team. When we all start trying to make individual pushes, when we all start trying to do our own thing, we just keep dying and we keep losing. But the thing is, when we start playing as a team, we're undefeatable. Like we don't lose when we're playing as a team. As long as we're keeping our communication up, as long as we're getting kills, we know where everyone's at in the map. As long as we make sure we're doing exactly what we need to do, basically making sure we're playing a flawless game, we don't lose. And I even playing Penn State, really good game. 1-1. We went to the Dom. Faulty pick on my part for the domination map, and shouldn't have picked Hackney Yard. It was definitely not my best choice, especially a map that like we haven't played that map together yet. At least not since last year with a different roster. I don't think I should have touched that map, but sadly nothing I could do to recount that. No, should have been a lot closer.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys competed against Penn State, which you know they're such an insanely good team, and to take it to map 3 against them, was impressive in itself. So that's a huge step forward, especially heading into Cold War. Now, I was gonna say it makes your job easier only having to pick a fourth, but now you have two. You basically have the core three going into Cold War. Yourself,
Yep.
Sauce, and Priestley. Now you got to choose, and we've seen interest, even people after the official tryouts in September, reach out to both you and me about playing on the varsity team or club team. So the interest is there. What are some things you're really going to have to see from players to make them stand out to you, oh, and me for that matter, to the both of us? Like, what are some things that we need to be looking for out of these players, not just gameplay wise, in order to make the varsity team?
Honestly, other than game skill, I mean, sportsmanship is a big thing for me, as you know. Being professional, a lot of teams, I mean, not to bash on anyone in the CCL, but it's definitely hard because there's a lot of club teams that don't understand the varsity aspect yet. Um, that there are schools that are trying to go that route. People want to go varsity right now. We want to get these games as these titles higher in the collegiate scene, right? So that's the thing. Like we can't all keep teams as club teams forever, or else we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to move up. We're just going to stay neutral on a neutral plane.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one way to go, and we can go up. If we all just keep staying club teams, we're just going to stay here. We're not even going to go down. We're just going to stay neutral. There's nowhere to go. But the thing is, if you want to make something of the collegiate scene, you want to have it where there are pro players, where there are pro coaches looking at the collegiate scene. For people, we're going to need varsity support. So that's the thing, like in collegiate support. You already see that TESPA's doing it right now. TESPA, when they announced their collegiate squads 10K, a lot of teams joined, a lot of players joined and individuals when they posted on the CDL website that there's a collegiate zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, even though there's club teams in that, I seen like a big amount of varsity teams that I didn't see before just start coming into the server and talking about varsity. And then people started joining the CCL server as well, right? So the thing is, like, we just got to keep going. Like, we just got to keep moving forward and moving upwards. Like, talk to those people that you got to talk to about trying to make something varsity, get support from your varsity athletics programs at your school, any type of incentive, anything like that. I wouldn't worry about it. Just try and get that support first off and worry about the incentives later. As long as you have the support from your school and they back you, that is what you need right now. You need to be shown that you guys can be you guys can conduct yourselves in a professional manner. And it's hard in a Call of Duty community. I know it is because I came from the community from the start, and it is one hell of a community, let me tell you, man. The memes, the banter, shooting bodies, anything like that, man. And it's like uh, staying on a professional playing field is definitely hard in that sense. But you got to do it if you want to keep moving forward because on a collegiate playing field, not everyone knows about stuff like that, right? Because from the outside looking in, shooting bodies for us, we just find it a playful gesture.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone's looking in and they've never watched before, they can find that disrespectful, and we just don't know it. And now that one person that could have been another potential person to watch all of our streams and stuff like that and watch us grow is gone because they think we're being disrespectful to each other and we're not being good with each other, you know?
Yeah.
But that's where I stand at least.
No, that was really, really well said. And regarding, I'm glad you brought up shooting bodies because I mentioned it on this episode actually. Um, I you really gotta pick and choose who you do that with, and you gotta find the fine line between banter, trash talking, and just straight up toxicity. And I did mention a match that we had. I didn't name any names, not even the school names, earlier in the year where the other team initiated it, and it really kind of, again, not naming names, but some guys on our team specifically, fired back, and it looked really, really bad from our POV for those who didn't know the situation. like us six knew what was going on, and it really drove that series, I think, for the players to get hyped and play with passion, which is great.
Yeah.
But like you said, as an outside viewer, who doesn't know what we're like, or what like the other team is like,
Yeah.
you got to find that fine line. Like, shooting bodies in scrims against like Purdue or something, it's just banter. Like, it's for fun because
Exactly.
the two schools have a great relationship. But if we're playing, the team that we played before, and it starts happening, it looks bad, and you really got to find the line, and especially as far as sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but like,
Yeah, no worries.
like ahead of an esports program or varsity, it looks bad to them, especially if they're not huge into Call of
Exactly.
Duty. It makes them look bad personally, and the overall brand of the program. So you got to find the line. I think you put it really well. You gotta pick and choose, basically.
Thank you.
Final two-parter. Final question. I could talk to you for hours, but a little bit pinched for time. So two-parter to kind of end this thing off. And by the way, thank you so much for being on. Appreciate it. It's been a fun 40 minutes or so. Maybe we'll have you on for a second episode in the future. But
Yeah, 100%.
So two-parter for you. What are your goals for the team for this season, TESPA CCL? And what are your goals for you personally by the end of the year, or even outside of the school?
Okay. Starting with the first part, my goals for the seasons and the CCL as a team as a whole. I'm hoping for a top 16 placement this year. So basically 2 times better than what we placed last year. I think that with the mold we have right now, we can definitely get up there. It's just going to take a lot of time and consistency right off the rip. We can't stop. So we just got to play our scrims like we've been playing. I'm going to be setting up practice times. It's probably going to be like, if depending on when the CCL matches are, like our CCL matches or TESPA matches will be, I'll probably have scrims like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be like 3 out of the 5 days we're going to be scrimming during the week. And I'm going to make sure that we're ready and we're prepared. But remember, at least myself, I pride myself in making sure that all my students have their work done. All my players have their work done. So even though I'm a student too, right? Like I'm balancing TESPA right now. I'm balancing work and school all at the same time. I'm making sure my assignments are done around like 3-4 days in advance, and I make sure my players are doing the same. I got to make sure that everyone is doing their best to keep their grades up. And that's the thing with varsity too, right? We have that 2.0 GPA that you have to maintain. So if you don't have above a 2.0 GPA, you can't play on a varsity team. And that definitely helps with, I think, keeping players, especially on my roster at least, because I know these guys try their hardest and do their best, and I'm always there, and I'll always offer help to any of them if they need help. And I know that any of them would offer me if I needed help with any of my work. As for personal goals, the second part, I mean, I'm hoping that I can branch out into the esports field a bit more, even though I'm in school for architecture, interior design. I want to branch out into the esports scene as much as I can, and possibly work with an organization. It doesn't have to be for Call of Duty. I've done social media management in the past, like I stated before. I know some stuff about business. I ran some business courses. I've done analytics, data, and I just want to get myself out there, get my foot in the door, especially in the esports field. I'm not getting a degree for esports. Like I know some people are, especially at my school. It's a big upcoming course that is definitely popping off and it's doing well. But I mean, I've just been going a different route, but I've definitely been talking to some people about potential opportunities and seeing where I could land in the next year.
Well said. It's been a lot of fun. 42 minutes and counting. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Kind of last minute in a pinch. 11:30 at night. I know you want to get to bed. You had a extremely long day. I know. So,
No worries.
yeah. Again, thank you so much. This has been Dawson Lavelle.
Thank you very much, brother. Have a good night.
That was Dawson Lavelle. Great interview. It's always fun talking to him. He's so easy to get riled up. I love talking my smack to him.
Yeah.
But
I actually went to high school with him.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Really?
We used to hang out on our spares. I think we were in some of the same classes as well.
Oh, no way.
Back then, he was into photography and stuff. So I didn't really know he was into the gaming that much back then. But I like to see his passion and hear about it. It's pretty cool also.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we can just kind of hop right into our main topic of this podcast. And we touched on the University of Windsor situation earlier on. But let's just get into the overall kind of aspect. Like, Luke, I want to know, first off, you don't have to give a specific example, but, why and in what way does toxicity from whether it's players or fans, whatever, does that benefit teams? Does it affect teams? Like, if you get in their heads, like, what are your thoughts on it? Like,
From my experience, just general banter, it's fine. But once it gets to the point where it's pretty dicey stuff, then at that point, whoever you're being toxic towards, they just don't care until you know you're wasting your time. So if anything, it benefits them, unless they're your teammate, because I don't know why you would be toxic to your teammate. That doesn't make sense to me.
It does happen though. Being toxic to
Well-
teammates. It's just sometimes it could just come out, or you could just feel like you're the superior player, and if they mess up, they're trash, or you just want to tell them that they are wrong and not really help them get better.
Well, like, there's
no, go ahead. Yeah.
going off of that, like, if you see someone do something wrong, there's a right way to do it. There's a right way to say it.
Yeah.
You don't just say, hey, you're dumb. You should have done this. You go, hey, next time, try this.
Well, yeah. I had toxic teammates when I played hockey. I don't know if it was because it was a language barrier or not. He was from the Czech, but like he was on my line, and if I made a mistake, he'd come yell at me, swearing at me, and calling me stupid for making the wrong play when he was clearly open to get a goal or something, and I just take the shot or don't pass it to him, which kind of sucked. But like, I was just like, it's a game. I'll learn from it. But you don't have to do that to me to make me learn from it. I already am learning from it.
Yeah,
It just didn't make sense to me at the time.
Yeah, those are the people you don't want to have as teammates, because if they're like that, they're going to continue to be like that. And just to kind of roll with your hockey reference a little bit, like, sometimes Europeans are known for being that kind of teammate because they come overseas and they think they're the superstar of the team.
Oh, yeah.
And they just think everyone's below them, and if you screw up, it's all on you. Like, but moving on from that, we're kind of that was a good example.
Yeah.
But like, as a coach, it's you got to find the right way, like Luke said, to tell someone, hey, like, you messed up. Next time, do this. Like, depending on the player, it's either tough love or positive reinforcement. And I think, I don't know if you guys would agree, but I think it would go by player basis rather than like the team as a whole. Because some people can handle the tough love, and some people don't take the positive reinforcement and run with it like some would expect. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I found the best way to go about it is the compliment sandwich, where you start with something positive, constructive feedback, and with positive.
It's a good
Yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah, again, great example. Rolling tonight, I love it. But Okay, so I like that from the coaching perspective. I think definitely it's player by player, but like Zach, I want to ask you because you've been playing League of Legends for I think you said 6 years or something like that.
Yep.
Um, you know, and League kind of has a reputation for getting a little bit toxic.
Yes.
Whether it's players, fans, whatever. Have you had any experiences with teammates in the past, or even just solo queuing in a game and teaming up with some random people? Have you ever had some really awful experiences in that regard?
Well, like for League, the toxic stuff just goes around like spam pinging you, typing paragraphs at you for how bad you are, or they'll end up just leaving the game and ruining your experience. Lately, I played a solo queue game and I didn't buy Moby boots, and the guy flamed me for it and blamed me for the loss, which I'll take it. I don't know. I should have bought Moby boots. But on the team, though, not really. I guess we always think we're good, so sometimes we see plays that we're like, oh, you should have done this here, but we don't like try to make stabby comments at them during the game. We'll wait,
Right.
talk about it later. Or if we do talk of like make a stabby comment, we'll like say sorry or something because it wasn't really meant to be, or somebody be like, hey, that's not the right thing to do at this time. Just focus on the game. So like we have a good way of handling on the team, but solo queue is a different story. If you ever play League and just play any game in it, you'll see how bad it is. It's
Yeah.
really bad, actually.
for League, it's actually very toxic, and it's crazy how people just get away with it, and like no one's really banned for it. But I guess we just understand that it is a game still, and it's not like your sole purpose in life. You can just leave it anytime you want.
That's true. But you got to think some players like don't understand that, and they're just
Yeah.
they actually mean what they say when they're they take even an unranked match of League or whatever, like take it like it's life or death.
Yeah. Well,
And
like there's some people that escape or use League to escape life, and this is like where they're happy and good and want to be, and then people just ruin that experience for them as well. So like it does suck
Like
for
that's
that as well.
sorry.
You could
Like that's why I stopped playing League pretty much altogether. Like I was I was playing it like every day since high school.
Yeah.
And if I had like a bad game or just someone was toxic for no reason, it would ruin my whole night, and I would just be pissed off
Yeah.
Right.
the rest of the day.
Yeah,
So, like,
you just gotta play for fun though, and it should be fine.
Yeah.
Like for your mental wise, if you do really come in contact with somebody toxic, but you still want to win, you don't want to lose. And if somebody makes you lose on your own team, it's terrible.
Well, with League in particular, it's still a 40-minute plus time commitment every
Yeah.
game.
True.
So if something goes wrong the first 5 minutes, you have another 35 minutes plus to go through.
Yeah. Well, also if somebody leaves the game and just kind of ruins that experience for you, that's 45 minutes wasted in a way in some people's eyes, where they could have just played a different game and actually had a fair chance of winning.
That's true. So I want to ask Luke, like, I in my eyes, I see it in three different sections. So you have banter, you have trash talking, and then you have straight up like toxic, scumbags. So like, where do you draw the line between the three?
Well, banter's like everyone knows it's joking. No one takes it to heart.
It's fun.
And it's fun stuff. Like, I think that's actually kind of healthy for the games and the competition. Trash talk, some people might get a little bit annoyed at it, but if anything, they'll probably get more motivated from it to do better. But when it gets to being toxic and some hurtful things are being said, that's when it's rough, to say the least. Because like that's when like you need to take a step back and really think like, is this worth my time dealing with this?
Right. And I even find like trash talking nowadays, like I'm I'm one of the louder mouths on the Call of Duty for the club team and varsity team. Like I will talk my stuff, but you know there's in a way
Is he lagging? He
Oh.
did lag. Oh. Ooh.
sorry.
He's
Okay,
back.
should be.
Okay, he's good.
I was flowing. I was
COD team, you're the loudmouth.
Oh yes, right. No, but like I'd like to talk my stuff and hype up the team. And the one thing though, I would never like talk down on a team. I could be like, oh, you guys are trash, whatever. But that's one thing. But in a way, with being involved with varsity, almost censored in a way, which I hate to use that word because it's so like strict, but I think it's important, especially at the collegiate level, because we're teenagers mostly, and in their 20s. Like, I'm sure we've all been there where we've said some things that we regret, or we're about to say some things and we're like, nah, like it's gonna get me in trouble. But now it's with us being at this level, you have to pick and choose what you say. And like you said, Luke, like you have to find that line where, okay, this is just straight up annoying and scummy versus, oh, like, you're trash, whatever, we're going to destroy you, blah, blah, blah. That's another thing. And I think it varies game by game as well. But it also depends on the relationship you have with a particular school or another team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate to keep referencing Call of Duty, but we have good relationships with Purdue and University of Texas Dallas. So we could all throw like trash talk back and forth, and we know like it's banter, it's trash talk, but it's fun and everybody understands and appreciates it. We had an instance a few weeks back. I talked about it, I think, on episode 1. I want to be as vague as possible because I don't know what I can or can't say because, varsity censored, whatever. But there was a case where this team, they were just going at it with us, and it got pretty ugly in game. Shooting bodies. That's a whole other talked about topic in Call of Duty. But shooting bodies and teabagging, and it got pretty ugly, and it got pretty ugly on our end as well. And we apologized, we moved on, we talked about it as a team, and that kind of stuff is just not needed, in my personal opinion. Honestly, I'm not completely against body shooting under certain circumstances, because in any FPS it's kind of the ultimate insult, and teabagging as well. Teabagging I don't really like because that's just showboaty and whatever. But if it's again, I hate to say like I don't mind body shots, but at the same time I hate it because it all depends on the circumstance for me.
Is
and
body
really
shots
anybody.
when you like shoot the dead body on the ground?
Yeah, after you get a kill or something.
Oh, like, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just want to make sure. I think I do that when I play Valorant.
Yeah. See, I yeah. And again, it depends on the team. But in the case where we played that school, it brought out an ugly side of us. But no, I can't see that. That definitely can't see that. But they initiated. We continued on. Again, there's no excuse. No need for it. And especially if we're being groomed to play at the next level, whether it's pro or high tier AM, the less toxicity, the better. The less ego, the better. Anyway, that's enough. I feel like I've been talking forever.
I think
Zach,
I'm gonna go off something you just said. I think especially if you're trying to go pro or even go like the amateur scene as well, I think if you keep your toxicity like track record to like a minimum or even none at all, it goes a long way for your career. I know like most teams don't want that toxic guy on their team because they'll ruin their team, make people want to leave, or just they'll be on the team for like 2 weeks, do a toxic thing, and then they're kicked off the team anyway, which just ruins the whole organization of the team in general also.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I know like pros aren't really that toxic, or even people trying to go pro is. It's just the random people in solo queue, or the random people you find in matchmaking in your COD games or whatever game you play. But like I'm doing more research here as well, and it shows that MOBAs, or like League of Legends, and also shooters are some of the most toxic gaming communities, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
are like
And
more team oriented games
Well,
as well.
That actually makes sense because in both of those games, it's definitely more the individual players feel more superior because of the numbers.
Yeah, and like your performance in that
Like
game's better. While like in
in
Hearthstone,
the
it's just yourself playing.
yeah,
You're not performing better than your teammate or showing that you are superior compared to them
right.
well, like
during that
even
time.
if you compare it to let's say Rocket League,
Yeah.
more of a sports game, comparing that to like League or
Well,
a shooter.
Rocket League is like a legit team v team. Like you're
Yeah,
trying to win that game together. While in League,
yeah,
it's solo
you're trying to
duo
win
queue.
by
You're
yourself.
just trying to win for yourself, not for your team. Because you're trying to get the LP. You don't really care about your team winning at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like even in just like League in general, where you are playing with like your team,
Oh, like when I play with my team.
trying to win. Yeah, and like not so much on the not varsity, but like you're still trying to work as a team to win.
Yeah.
Everyone has that all-star mentality.
Yeah, they want to be the one that carries.
Yeah. I mean, you and me support players, we don't worry about that.
Oh, it depends who we're playing.
It depends.
But I just want to segue into the kind of the next thought. Like Zach, you brought it up before. Like, how important are relationships with your teammates? Like building that chemistry, becoming friends. Because there's been a few cases that I've seen, multiple different esports where a team is lights out, amazing, just fantastic, but none of the guys are buddies or hang out or anything like that. They just kind of hop on every day, grind the game, and win. That's all they do. But on the other hand, there's building the chemistry and getting the good vibes. What would you prefer? It might be a dumb question, but like, what would you prefer? Like, even good or bad, would you want to have those relationships, or is it about winning, or does it depend on the person?
I want to have the relationships. Like for the team you just said that they just win and not have good team chemistry. That just must be a team of highly skilled players altogether, and they know, hey, let's just get this win and then go back home and kind of like earn their salaries that way. I'd rather have a good team connection or team relationships. You could be, say, 3 ranks lower than the other team, but your like kind of chemistry or I guess your relationships with your team can actually kind of make you perform better, or at least you know how to play off each other, which will help you win games in a way, even if you are a lesser ranked team. Even like less skilled teams can beat the top team any day if they just feel like they can work together really well. Like a bunch of bronzes could beat challengers, honestly. They probably won't, but it is possible. But I'd rather have the good team, like especially when I come from hockey. So you want to have a good team or good team chemistry. You go out, play poker or go play soccer as a group and keep building the bonds. Because then that chemistry, like me and Loy in the bot lane, we don't go out in person much, but we play a lot of solo queue, duo queue together. So I feel like we both know how we want to play the lane. Well,
right.
If you don't really play with that person a lot, you just go play your matches every Sunday night, you won't really understand what they're trying to do or what they want to do at certain points. Well, me and Loy would be like, okay, we see them in this position, we want to do this, and we'll do it. We both know we won't even say anything. We'll say go. We won't have to explain it to each other, which is actually very good because quick communication, but like good communication and quick communication is very good for team sports and I guess our Saints gaming as well, probably through most of the varsity games we have.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I'm a big believer in chemistry and communication over skill. Obviously, you need
well, you need work effort as well, like
work ethic, communication, and chemistry. Like
will beat skill any day.
Yeah, obviously you need skill to win, but and very rare do you have a combination of all four of those things.
You won't. It is rare. It is rare.
I've never seen it, but I know I'm sure it's happened before. Some dynasties that we've seen in different games, but like I'm definitely a believer. It's, you build a chemistry, and like you said, just knowing what the other person is going to do. Okay, they're going to do this. That means I can do that. Free him up. Let him, run loose or whatever. But
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Luke?
On the
Just the idea of building
team
chemistry, with your
chemistry,
teammates.
good relationships, not really being toxic.
well, like, here's the thing is, like, if you don't have good relationships with your team, you don't respect them.
True.
And like, League's probably the game I know the best. So let's say no one respects your jungler. That's gonna lead to problems all throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
People will be, oh no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. No, go do this, go do that. I mean, well, you know what to do, but if they don't respect your opinion,
Yeah,
you're not getting anywhere.
That's true. Just if someone thinks they're that superstar, but then another person thinks that they're that superstar, it's really tough to build that chemistry because they both want to be the one to drop 40 kills or whatever, like drop those big individual numbers. Unfortunately, that happens quite a bit in some of these games. It sucks to see because you'd rather see everybody hugging after a big win rather than just, fist bumps. Okay, good job. We just won $1 million. Like, good job, guys. Let's go home and do our own thing now. But
well, that also comes from probably that starts at the tryouts, because a lot of times people just think, oh, if I just play the best, I'm going to get it. And let's say amazing player, but he's like that.
He's bad attitude.
Lone wolf.
He's a
bad attitude. Lone wolf. Just tries to win the game by himself.
Yeah.
I would rather not take that player and take someone that at least tries to work with the team.
Yeah.
If I'm a coach.
I think as a team or as a player of a team, you have to be I'd say trusting and understanding of your role or of your teammates even as well. Trust your team will carry if you can't carry that game. And also understand that for that one game, maybe you are the role player. You just got to do what you have to do. You won't be the carry every time. So I think that helps out with relationships as well. Because then you don't feel like you're the superior one of the group or the 5 or 4 or 3, whoever is in the group. And you feel like together you can win better than individually or just one person carrying everybody.
Right. And those mistakes, you're not going to get near as much flack, or it's not going to impact the team in a super negative way like it would if you were just playing with 5 superstars and no one really cared about each other. For sure. So any final thoughts before we kind of wrap things up here?
I feel like all of Saints Gaming has a very good team kind of chemistry, attitude towards each other, work ethic, because we do have a very good win-loss record.
Oh, yeah.
I know we do have some very skilled players as well, but I feel like everyone on the team understands their roles and what they have to do to help the team win. I forget what this week's score was. I think it was 13-3 or something like that. 11-3. Let me check real quick. I'll let you guys throw in your thoughts real quick then.
Luke?
Not really much more to say than just that. Just don't be toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree. You gotta find that line. I like to talk, but I know what to say, what not to say, when to stop, when to start.
Yeah.
And everybody's really just gotta do that. It's okay to talk a little trash, to get into your opponent's head, but don't come after them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good mindset to have though. Just understand when you should say something and when you shouldn't. Or not be toxic.
Understand what to say.
Yeah. So we went 12-3 on the week. Also, all 3 losses came from shooter games. That's
not
interesting.
not gonna happen next week. Not gonna happen next week.
No, I hope
Going
not.
undefeated for the first time all year next week.
As
Calling it right now.
Saints Gaming.
Yeah, as a
Okay.
whole.
I like that. I hope so.
Bold prediction for the
Should we
week.
like do something? Should we like do a giveaway or something? If they do,
Ooh, I like that.
Like
That's
that idea.
a good plan.
If let's say $25 Steam card.
sure.
You could do that.
I'm
Okay,
down.
so
I'm down.
for everybody watching, comment below. Just comment anything. Yay Saints Gaming, boo Saints Gaming, whatever. Just drop
Something
a
not
comment.
toxic.
Yeah, something not toxic, something
Of
friendly
course.
and nice.
Say hi
Just
to Sammy even.
Yeah, say hi to Sammy, please. Please say hi to Sammy. Drop your comments and if we go undefeated next week on next week's episode, we'll pick a winner from the comment section. So I think that's a great idea, Luke and Zach. And I think that's a great way to end the show here.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for tuning in again, episode 3. We hope you're enjoying it. We really appreciate the feedback. I know we've seen a few likes. I think upwards of 40 viewers, I think, our last episode. So we're slowly climbing up there. I do hope people are enjoying the show. I know I'm definitely having a lot of fun with these guys. This is a project for us.
Yes.
In our one of our esports classes. So this is, we're taking it serious, but we're also having a lot of fun, I think. So with that said, we thank you all so much for tuning in once again. Bird's Eye View Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. We'll see you all. Well, this will be uploaded Wednesday. So we'll be back again this Wednesday and next Wednesday. So thank you all again. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. And
good.
from the 3 of us, we'll see you next time.
Make sure to comment.